Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be ranking every single power forward in the NBA. I've done this with point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards already. You can go back and watch those videos on the channel if you missed them. But today, power forward edition, and this one is going to be very interesting. I feel like there's a lot of good power forwards in the league right now. So we're going to do that here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, this video on my channel explaining all of it, you can go back and watch that. Look to my Twitter, TikTok, all stuff like that down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Alright, so hi, this is me post video. For some reason my mic didn't pick this part up, I guess, but so basically me explaining the tiers: superstar, all-star, starter, backup, bench, G League. You know, if you watch the last couple of videos you see them. But also explaining real quick before we start the video that some guys might actually be backups in real life, but I'll put them in starter tier. This is not based on currently what their actual role is. It's just what they play like. So some guys that might be starters might be in backup tier. Some guys that might be actually backups are being starter tier. It's just more about how they play like more than their actual role. And so, yeah, let's do it. All right, let's start down here. We'll start with Precious Achua as our first guy. He had some solid moments last year with the Knicks after he got traded over there. Is he gonna be backup or bench though? I'll put him in bench tier for right now. I'll put him in bench tier. Yeah, and again, we can go back. We can always go back and change things around. But Precious, I'll put him in bench tier. I think he's a good energy player. Has some good moments with the Knicks. Probably gonna have a lot bigger of a role with the Knicks' lack of center depth. We'll put him in there. Santi Aldama, I'm gonna put Santi in backup. I think Santi had a really good year last year with the Grizzlies and more opportunity. Good guy, stretch the floor, could score well. He had a good Olympics too. So Santi is pretty nice. I think Santi's a pretty good player over there for Memphis. Giannis, superstar tier, not much question about it. You know, Kyle Anderson, he's gonna go in backup tier as well. Now in Golden State, I think he can fit pretty well in that system, even though he's not a shooter. He is a really high IQ basketball player, so I think he'll fit in with the Warriors system fine. Good defender, guy that can handle the ball really well for his size, kind of like a point forward type role. So yeah, now he's in Golden State. Paulo, he's gonna go in All-Star tier. Not gonna go in Superstar tier yet. I think we have to wait a little bit while for that. But he's gonna go in All-Star tier. I think this could be a very big year for Paulo Banchero. Big fan of him. I think he could be an amazing player in the future. I mean, already in going into his, he's only played 2 years in the NBA. He's only played 2 years in the NBA. He's already at the level he's at. Very excited to see what his future looks like. But Paulo is gonna go in All-Star tier. Dominic Barlow gonna go in G League. Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes. Depends on how, because I'm already kind of thinking of how this list is gonna go. I'll put Harrison Barnes in starter tier for now. Harrison Barnes is just one of the most solid players, reliable players. You know what you're gonna get from Harrison Barnes. He's gonna come in, he's professional about it, do what he has to do. You know, he's never gonna be amazing, but he's never gonna be too bad. He's just gonna be out there and do his thing. I love the pickup for him in San Antonio. I love that addition. I think he fits really well in that system and culture and helping out over there. I think that's gonna be a great move for San Antonio to get Harrison Barnes. Yeah, Harrison Barnes just when you think of a solid NBA player, you think of Harrison Barnes. You know. Scotty, gonna go on All-Star team. Now, Scotty is actually listed as a shooting guard for this season, which is very, very interesting. I don't know why he is, but apparently he's listed as a shooting guard. On Basketball Reference, his position this year was a shooting guard. So I'm thinking, I don't know, because after this, I'm gonna do my top 10s for each position as well. And I'm not really sure if I'm gonna put Scotty in the shooting guard list or in the power forward list, which I think I mean, he's actually a power forward. We know this, and next year he's probably gonna be classified as a power forward. But he was classified as a shooting guard this year. But I'm also thinking with all the power forwards we have on here, with all the guys we have at power forward, we have so many guys here at power forward that the list is going to be really hard. I might move Scotty over to the shooting guard list just to make it easier. But I don't know. We'll see. But Scotty, he's going to go an all-star. Great year last year for Scotty. Nick Batum, he's going to go in backup tier. Very reliable still, even though he's, 34, 35-ish. Still very reliable. Back in LA now with the Clippers where he belongs, you know? Bojan Bogdanovic. He's going to go in backup tier for right now. Had a great year 2 years ago. Last year was solid. Was injury prone. Had a decent year with Detroit. Got to New York and just couldn't really find it. Then he got hurt in the playoffs, unfortunately. Now he's in Brooklyn, where he could be a candidate to raise his stock if he goes to Brooklyn, where he's if he goes over there and plays really well, he can raise his stock to potentially get traded to a playoff team, kind of like what he did in Detroit. So maybe he could be a candidate for that though. Bol Bol, gonna go bench tier. Just hasn't really done much so far in the NBA, but it's still Bol Bol, and people still gonna give him a chance. Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher is gonna go in backup tier. I think he's very solid. Still in Toronto. A guy that can stretch the floor and block shots. Stretch four. That can also defend. So yeah, Kobe Brown. He's gonna go in G League tier, but I think he might have an opportunity to get some minutes next year. Jimmy's gonna go in All Star tier. A lot of people looking at a situation right now on last year's deal. Doesn't look like Miami. I don't really know if he's gonna get paid over there or not. Is he gonna get traded after? Like, who knows what's gonna happen with Jimmy? But he's in All Star mode right now, All Star tier right now. Just because he doesn't really take the regular season seriously, and last year unfortunately he was injured for the playoffs. But you will go in All Star tier. Matas Buzelis, I'm gonna put him in bench tier for now, just to be safe. Rookies always try to play it safe because he hasn't played a game in the NBA yet, so we don't know. We'll throw him in bench tier for right now. But I like he's in Chicago, back at home. I like Montas. I think he'd be really solid. Defensively, he's already pretty solid. Offensively, he's very athletic. Really good basketball player. It's just he's got to get more reps in. Really, that's it. Jamal Cain gonna go in G League. Toumani Camara, gonna put him in bench tier. He actually was really solid for Portland last year. He was one of their better defenders. Can handle the ball well. So interesting for Toumani Camara. Vlatko Konchar, gonna put him in bench tier. I think he's been injured the last couple of years. He had a big ACL injury. I don't know. He'll probably come back this year, I guess. Brandon Clark, he's gonna go in backup tier. Injury again. He also got injured a couple years ago. Last year he came back, was solid this year. Hopefully with a fully healthy offseason, he can go back to doing what he did before the injury. Brandon Clark. Noah Clowney, gonna go in bench tier. I think he did pretty solid in the last couple games of the season with Brooklyn once they kind of figured out, all right, we're not going anywhere. But he's got a very interesting future, maybe as a 3-and-D forward / center. He can shoot the ball really well from three, and he's a really good interior defender. John Collins. John Collins is going to go in... is he starter tier or backup tier? I'll put him in starter tier. He had a solid season last year with Utah. Statistically, looked better than what actually was. But he's I don't know. John Collins is just kind of average it out. He had a really good year a couple years ago. Atlanta paid him. In the last couple years, he just hasn't really found his groove. His role has kind of been weird. Obviously hasn't played up to the money. But he's still decent sometimes. So John Collins going to go there. Tristan Da Silva going to go on bench tier, one of my favorite players in the 2024 class. I really love. He went to Orlando. Another guy he's a really high IQ basketball player. Can make good passes, can shoot the three ball, can defend decently. Just a very good basketball player overall. Ousmane Dieng going to go in G League. Kevin Durant, obviously going to go in superstar tier. Not really much question about that. Tari Eason, I'm going to put in... Tari Eason. I'm going to put him in backup tier. I really loved what I saw his rookie year. Unfortunately, last year, he dealt with a lot of injuries, so he couldn't really get a full chance to play. But I think he can be a very good Swiss Army knife type player and have a long career. Guy that can stretch the floor. Defensively, he's going to be really, really good defensively. Can stretch the floor. Can play multiple different positions. Isn't afraid to do the dirty work. So he's a guy that has a chance to have a very long-term career, be a good player on a lot of winning teams. Kyle Filipowski, going to put him in bench tier. Fell all the way down to the second round to Utah, where I think that could be a really solid spot for him. Dwayne Finney-Smith, I'm going to put him in starter tier. Very solid role player. Hope he gets traded this year so we can see him back on a winning team. Aaron Gordon, also going to go in starter tier, one of the better role players in the game. Aaron Gordon is just doing his thing. Defensively, really good. Him in Denver, he's just found the key. Anthony Gill, going to go on bench tier. Jeremy Grant, also going to go in starter tier with Portland. Very interested to see if he gets traded this year. There's been rumors about it ever since Damian Lillard requested his trade, especially with the big contract he's on. But Jeremy Grant is still a 20-point scorer. Still a 20-point scorer in this league. Defensively hasn't been as great as he was a couple years ago before he got paid. But if he goes to a winning team, I think he maybe could find that rhythm again, Draymond, going to go in all-star tier. Hopefully he has a good year this year because the Warriors kind of need him to have a really good season. Jeff Green, going to go in backup tier at 36. or 37 or 38 actually, maybe even. Still a very reliable role player. Muhammad Gay gonna go in G League. Rui Hachimura, I'll put him in backup tier. I'll put him in backup. I think he's been very solid ever since he got to the Lakers. Yeah, good shooter. Loves the mid-range game. Defensively, he's gotten a lot better. So yeah, he's been very solid. Tobias Harris, I'll put him in starter tier. I mean, say what you want about him performing in the playoffs and stuff. At the end of the day, he's still a very solid player, especially as a starter in a regular season. Got a lot of money in Detroit, but Detroit had money to spend, so why not go get him? And he could be a good veteran presence and something consistent over there in Detroit. Taylor Hendricks is going to go back bench tier. Very excited to see what his role is going to be this year with Utah. Now, hopefully, he'll get full playing time after last year. Didn't really play till the second half of the season. Haywood Highsmith going to go back up tier. He's become a really solid and reliable player for the Miami Heat. A really, really good defender that can knock down a shot here or there. Jonathan Isaac also going to go in backup tier. One of the better defenders in the league. He's just been injuries have been really affecting him, but hopefully last year was a pretty healthy season in his standards. So hopefully he could stay healthy and play about 60 games. Gigi Jackson going to go in backup tier. Had a really, really good rookie season. Fortunately, he's going to miss the first month maybe of the season due to a broken foot injury, but I think he can fit really well with that Grizzlies team. LeBron, going to go in superstar tier, no question about it. Cam Johnson, going to go in starter tier. Again, another guy I hope gets traded. Really, really reliable 3-and-D wing. And he'll be really good on playoff teams. James Johnson, going to go in backup bench tier. Right now, he's just there for locker room presence in Indiana. That's what he's there for, and he does a pretty good job at it. Kashad Johnson, going to go in G League. Nikola Jovic, going to put him in backup tier. Has some really good moments last year in Miami with the Heat after becoming a starter at the end of the season. Hopefully, he can get a full time playing in the rotation. I think he's very solid. He can shoot the 3-ball. He can handle the ball very well for being, 6'9", 6'10". Really good ball handler. Has some good movement for being that tall. It's just about putting it all together, Jonathan Kuminga, I'll put him in starter tier. He had a really good season last year with Golden State, especially that second half of the season. Now he's probably going to be a starter this year. And if he can have continue that end of last year and continue it into this season, have a breakout year, definitely a most improved player candidate, and he can help the Warriors out a whole bunch. Kyle Kuzma, gonna put him in starter tier. Consider maybe putting him in all-star tier, because honestly, Kyle Kuzma has been really good ever since he got to Washington. Kyle Kuzma has been very good the last couple of years. It's just no one really cares because it's Washington and not winning a lot of games. But he's another guy I hope gets traded so he can go on a good playoff team and can show himself again, because he's been really good. Jake LaRavia, gonna put him in bench tier. Kevin Love, put him in backup tier. At 36, still is very, very reliable as a stretch 5. Trey Lyles, put him in backup tier as well. He's become a really solid role player. Lauri Markkanen, going in all-star tier. Just got paid a lump sum of money from Utah, which is well-deserved. And yeah, he's an all-star-like player, man. He's really, really good, Lauri Markkanen, especially without the ball. He doesn't really need the ball a whole lot to be very efficient and very effective. Jack McVay, going to go G League. Evan Mobley, going to put him in starter tier. Hopefully this could be the breakout year for Evan Mobley we've been waiting for. He could be an all-star level. Had a really good playoff run with us, especially at the center position. So hopefully maybe he can put it all together, especially if there's support like Kenny Atkinson is kind of empowering Evan Mobley to try to push him to the next level, which I hope really works out. George Niang, backup tier. Reliable stretch big. Zeke Naji gonna go on bench tier. He got paid a lot of money a couple years ago. Well, not a lot of money, but got paid a good amount of money a couple years ago and hasn't really. I don't think I've seen him play in the last 2 years. Drew Peterson, G League. Bobby, gonna put him in backup tier. Or do I put him in starter? I'll put him in starter tier. He's been one of the better 6 men for the past couple years. He's really found a home in Milwaukee. He's really, really good. Mayor Milwaukee right there. Michael Potter, going to G League. Omax Prosper, G League. Julius Randle, going to go in all-star tier still. Even though he did not have a good start to last year, he was still an all-star. Still picked as an all-star despite having a bad first couple weeks. But then, of course, injuries really, really affected him. Didn't really play down the stretch for New York. Well, hopefully this year he can come back and have another all-star type year for the Knicks. Torian Prince, going to go back up tier, really solid wing. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, going to go bench. Roddy, going to go bench. Dejan Salone, we're going to put him in bench as well. The 6th overall pick with Charlotte. Definitely a project type player. Probably going to take a little while before we actually see him get real minutes. But I think he could be solid. I mean, he's a big guy, 6'10", that can run the floor well, can shoot the 3-ball, has some good IQ. It's just really about putting it all together. He's a project, Dama Sanogo, going to go G League. Guy Santos, G League. Alex Sarr, put him in backup tier. Number 2 overall pick in Washington. I think could be a very decent spot for him. He can kind of spread his wings a little bit, which is why I wanted to go to Washington. I don't know. Didn't have a great summer league. Did not have a good summer league. But at the end of the day, who really cares? Summer league is just summer league. By the end of the season, we won't even remember that summer league that he had. But if you could just go over there, learn from Jonas Valanciunas, get some good minutes, be a good defender, and kind of try to work out and round out his offensive game, he could be very, very solid. Pascal, going to go in all-star tier. Full offseason now in Indiana. I think the Pacers, him and Halliburton have a really nice connection. Ben Simmons, gonna have to put him. I might have to put him in bench tier, man. I mean, he just hasn't played. He just hasn't played the last couple of years. It's just really unfortunate to see the downfall of Ben Simmons. And honestly, every offseason we say Ben Simmons. We see the workout videos, obviously, but you also see, like, Ben Simmons is fully committed this year. He's healthy, but we can never really trust that. So I have to put him in bench tier, unfortunately. Jabari Smith Jr., he's going to go in... I might put him... He's going to go in starter tier. I think Jabari Smith Jr. has been underratedly very, very good for the past couple years in Houston. Good shot making, 6'11" guy that can rebound well, and has good defensive ability too. So I think especially if the Rockets take a jump this year and are a playoff team, a lot of people are going to have their eyes on Jabari Smith Jr. and be like, dang, he's a really good role player, which I think he has been for the last couple of years. Jeremy Sohan, going to go in backup tier. I think now him back at the 4 instead of having him at point guard is going to do a lot of wonders for him. Tyler Smith, going to go in G League. Isaiah Stewart, going to go in backup tier. Maybe he gets traded. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Jason Tatum, go in superstar tier. Say what you want about Jason Tatum, about the Olympic run and all that stuff. He's a champion. He's one of the best players in the league. Who cares? Obi Toppin, going to put him in backup tier. Had a really good year last year for Indiana. Just got a pretty nice contract. We'll see what he could do if he could continue that this year. Xavier Tillman, going to go bench tier. Anthony Towns, he's going to go all-star tier. Had a really good year. I think he was picked as an all-star last year, if I'm not mistaken, for the Timberwolves. Had a really, really good season. Playoff run was very up and down, but still a very good all-star level player. And I love that him and Rudy got it worked out. Hugh Travers going to go G League. PJ Tucker going to go bench tier. Is he going to get traded from the Clippers? Who knows? We'll see. Hunter Tyson going G League. Jared Vanderbilt going to go backup tier. Hopefully we can get a healthy Vanderbilt this season. He has been one of the better defenders in the league. Unfortunately, last year he's just been really injured. But when he does play, he's a really good role player, really good defensive guy, brings a lot of energy. Offensively, can he do much? No, but defensively he's going to bring a lot on the court. Dean Wade, going to put him in... I'll put him in backup tier. He had a really good season last year. When he played, the Cavs were good. Jabari Walker, going to go bench. Jarace Walker, going to go bench. Just very... I don't know where Jarace Walker really stands. They brought in Pascal Siakam. They have Obi Toppin. They have a lot of people kind of in that forward position for Jarace. So, unfortunately, could be a guy that gets lost in the shuffle. PJ Washington. Going to put him in... I'll put him in starter tier. If I have John Collins, and if I have... You know what? Honestly, I'm moving John Collins down. I'm moving John Collins down to... bench tier. Backup tier. Seeing how kind of this is playing out, I'll move John Collins down a tier. But I put PJ Washington in starter tier. He had a really good run with Dallas last year. I'm a big fan of PJ Washington. Trent Wofford, gonna put him in bench tier. Grant Williams, gonna go backup tier in Charlotte. He has some pretty nice moments over Charlotte. Kenny Hustle, Kenrich Williams, also gonna go backup tier. One of my favorite role players in the league. Patrick Williams, going to go back up. Let's see what he can do this year. He got paid. He got his money. Now, no DeRozan, so hopefully he can have a full chance to grow, and we can see who Patrick Williams really is, Zion, going to go all-star tier as well, obviously. Unfortunately, the injury in the Laker game was really unfortunate. But we'll see what he can do this year. You know, he slimmed down. Looks like in picture he slimmed down a whole lot. He might have to play some 5. We'll see what happens with Zion this year, man. Very excited to see him full time. Jalen Wilson, G League, Christian Wood is going to go in backup tier. And then Gershon Yabusele could go in bench tier. Shout out to him. He's back in the league. But yeah, here we go. Here's the power forward list. So superstars, you have Giannis, KD, Bron, Tatum. All-star, a lot. I think this is the most we've had in All-Star tier. We have Paolo, Scotty Barnes, Jimmy, Draymond, Larry Marketing, Julius Randle, Pascal, Cat, and Zion. And then the rest of the tiers, there's a lot to name. You can see who we have in starter tier, bench or backup tier, bench tier, G League tier. But yeah, very interesting list. And the top 10 list I think is going to be a dogfight, man. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.